So my second day of kiteboarding didn't go exactly as planned. Well, this time I thought I was setting really measurable, achievable goals. And I had every intention of hitting those goals. Started out great. I was able to lift off and jump off of the boat into the water, and then everything went wrong. Lots of kite crashing and then crashing on the trailing edge, making it a fucking nightmare to relaunch again. So during the lesson it was great because we started really small and built on top of everything. So I felt like I was getting a bunch of small wins in as I went along. By the time that we got into the water, I was really feeling confident and great about myself and not in my head. This time, I was super pumped up because in my mind I was like, oh, I did really well in my lesson. This is probably going to be a sport that I can actually pick up. Maybe this is my thing. This is going to be awesome. But once everything started going a bit wrong and all the crashes were happening and I just became a little bit fearful of the kite, then I went into a bit of a spiral. It became less of it being difficult to physically do the tasks, but more of a mental barrier of me genuinely feeling shitty and incapable of doing anything. So then I became anxious and stressed. I guess this video isn't necessarily so much about kiteboarding as it is about the psychology around me learning kiteboarding, which I find to be the most fascinating. When I do talk about this kind of stuff with my friends or people that I meet, I find that they do connect with that and they understand that, especially women. And I guess I wish when I look on YouTube for learning kiteboarding or kiteboarding beginner stuff, I wish that I would see more women talk about the psychology behind them learning different types of sports and skills. Kind of makes me feel alone in the sense that, oh, I'm one of the few or the only person that just goes down a negative thought spiral and like feels shitty about every aspect of their life because they don't advance as quickly as they want to, which is my problem. I want to become like Kelly Slater day one of my lesson. That's my expectation of myself, which also doesn't make sense, but that's what I want. So when I don't achieve that, I feel like garbage. And I want to know if other people feel that way. And I want to know if that comes up for them. Maybe not in learning physical sports. It might be something else, you know? Like it could be anything. Coincidentally, the same day that I did this second attempt at kiteboarding, I actually started my period. It's something that I don't necessarily want to admit because I don't want it to feed into this narrative that women are weak and have it be like, oh, look, there's biological evidence for their weakness. I feel like that's a really damaging narrative. How the hormones make you feel emotionally have a real impact in how you behave and see things. Because I know 2 weeks from now, or like even a week from now, I'm gonna possibly be in the same situation again, going kiteboarding again, on a boat again, but I'm not gonna see it as, oh, I'm failing, oh, I'm an incapable person, why do I suck, negative thought spiral. I might see it as, oh, today is really challenging, but maybe my goals were a little bit too intense. Maybe I can adjust. Or, oh, I learned how to body drag properly, which is a skill up. I didn't really do that in my first lesson, and that was something that I grew in. I was able to body drag upwind and downwind, which is great. But how I viewed it yesterday was, you fucked up, you failed. Because last time you were able to get up and ride, this time you couldn't do anything. You had to reset the kite skills portion and practice stuff that you already knew, and that new skill that you earned, that's like minor. I won't look at the positives. That's a problem with this type of mindset or the negative spiral, is that the positives get undervalued and then all the negatives become a fucking mountain, basically. They become way larger than they need to be. While I might view something in my typical day as just a small hill that I can overcome, when I'm in that negative state of mind, I think of it as a mountain. Now it becomes Mount Everest, and it feels so much more daunting. And the more I let myself see it in that way, the more limiting it becomes because I believe that it's the mountain, even though I know it's not. I know it's not. That's the most frustrating part of it. I think fundamentally the biggest hurdle in me learning any skill, whether it be kiteboarding or not, is really a psychological hurdle. Really, like I don't feel great about yesterday, even today, even though everything that I just said was, hey, I understand what happened to me yesterday, and hey, I understand that feeling negative about it is like irrational. 2 weeks from now, I'm going to feel like I piss excellence. But I'm over here thinking, I failed at kiteboarding, and therefore I'm a shitty person, and what am I doing with my career? And what am I doing with my life? Am I earning enough? Do my friends like me? Like, That kind of shit. Like, it's ridiculous. It's like, that has nothing to do with anything. And yet, my mindset pulled me down into that pit. It became a challenge for me to pull myself out of that and to step out of that mindset and look at it and say, nah, that doesn't actually make any sense. You're doing this to yourself. Stop it. But yeah, I guess I'm going to keep doing it. I'm gonna pick up another lesson, try again, and I'm determined to learn this. Also, I did buy a board yesterday and a harness, so I want to make my investment worth it.
You just have to keep trying. Is this awkward?
I feel weird today. And here's a shot of me being dragged back by my boyfriend. They're all scared because I swallowed a bunch of water. I'm a big weenie. But being dragged by another human attached to a kite was great. So reflecting back on it, that was great. I am actually really proud of myself for learning that body dragging is really important. I'm sure I'm going to lose my board constantly and will be able to actually go get it now, which is wonderful. And also the importance of that kite control, keeping it at that angle, not letting it swoop around. Why am I so scared of getting the kite in the power zone? It's like the unstoppable force of nature. And it really freaks me out. It's the same thing when I went surfing. It's the power of the waves makes me feel out of control, which really scares me. I think that's what it is. It's not the ocean itself, it's the movement that I am just this little meatball floating in the water. And, you know, nature's just like, I do stuff and you're fucking powerless. I'm a control freak. And if I don't have control, then I freak out about it. So, I guess that's something else I have to work on. That's why personal development is like an endless journey. I could avoid water my whole life and not have it be a thing, but I keep going into the water or like hanging out with fucking sporty humans that want to do fun stuff. And I want to do that, I want to enjoy it, then I come in contact with the shit that I fear, and I have to deal with it. But I guess if I didn't view myself as a project, I'd be really bored. That's real good recording, can you hear that? Just clanging from all the random shit that I have hanging on every surface. I also got a rug hanging on the wall, which is so Persian of me. But I love it. It's great. Look at it. It's like 300 years old. And it's like made by old ladies that dyed a bunch of like sheep stuff with like berries and stuff. That's kind of great. There's not enough gold in this room for the amount of Persian that's happening on that wall. I didn't even point to it. There it is.
Okay.
Thanks for watching. I appreciate that I scream into the void of the internet and sometimes people watch and listen. It's nice. Thank you. Don't stop doing it. Don't stop doing it, please. Okay, bye.